Hello, everyone. I am Magdalene Palmer. Welcome to Voice TV Nigeria. Are you a subscriber yet? If you're not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Go to YouTube and click on Voice TV Nigeria and like and subscribe and be part of the Voice TV Nigerian family. I'll be bringing you hot gist from the United States of America. You know, the election is coming up November, and a lot of controversial issues are coming up and rising up. So, like the other day, the president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, was out to say that mailing in voting will be catastrophic. And he says that it will make the US to be a laughing stock. This year's election will see a lot of people who are expected to vote by mail due to the pandemic. You know, when the virus came, everybody started observing social distancing. People don't really go out again. So imagine how this election will be. Do you understand? Everybody will want to be in his house and vote by mailing. Now, Democrats, including the former president of the United States of America, Barack Obama, have accused Trump of attacking postal voting in a bid to undermine the United States election. What is really happening? This one is coming out to say Trump wants to rig the election. This one is saying that Trump is coming out to say that he doesn't want mail voting because he feels that the Democrats have a hand in it. Well, to me, my question to you, my lovely subscribers, is that Trump is really scared of the blacks. I think so. And I think he feels the blacks really want to rig this 2020 election. Let's watch this video and get this information.
Call it mail-in voting. Again, absentee voting is great. You request, I'm an absentee voter because I requested, I got, and then I sent in my vote. So that works out very well. That's what we've had. But now they want to send in millions and millions of ballots. And you see what's happening. They're being lost. They're being discarded. They're finding them in piles. It's going to be a catastrophe. So, and this is beyond the post office. But Louis DeJoy is working very hard. The post office has for decades lost billions and billions of dollars. I read numbers today that are unthinkable. And what they want to do now is hit the post office with millions of ballots from certain states. And if you look at what happened in New York and Virginia and various other places, it's a catastrophe. They're losing 20% of the votes. Nobody knows what's happened. So we're going to see what happens. But I do say this, universal mail-in voting is going to be catastrophic. It's going to make our country a laughingstock all over the world. You can't send out millions of ballots. And look at all of the tests. Look, you've seen them. And there are many, far more. Just look at New York. Look at New Jersey. Look at the catastrophe in New Jersey. And New Jersey had more than just Patterson. Look at what's going on in Virginia. Look at what's happening with this mail-in voting. It's a disgrace. Absentee is good. Mail-in, universal, is very, very bad. There's no way they're going to get it accurately. They're off by 20 and 30%. And this is beyond post office. Now, with that being said, they want money for the universal mail-in ballots. And they're not getting it. You know why? Because of them. We want money to go to people. They want money in order to bail out states that have done very poorly. The states that have done poorly, you know them as well as I do. These are run by Democrats, usually radical left Democrats. You take a look at what's happening in Portland. And we'll go into Portland, we have to be asked. We'll go into Portland, straighten it out in 1 hour, like happened in Minneapolis. We'll go straighten it out in 1 hour. We will straighten it out so fast, but they have to ask us. So they need money, but they're not willing to approve the money that they need. If they can't get the money that they need for universal mail-in voting, I don't see how they can have it. And that's not only post office, it's also for the voting itself.
Follow on that, Mr. President. Does Postmaster DeJoy have your backing for the actions that he's taken in the last several weeks?
Yeah, he's a fantastic man. He wants to make the post office great again. You ever hear the expression? He wants to make the post office great again. The post office is a catastrophe.
Mail sorting machines nationwide, that's one of the.
I don't know what he's doing. I can only tell you, he's a very smart man. He'll be a great postmaster general. And he needs, obviously, if you're going to do these millions of ballots out of nowhere, he's going to obviously need funding. But the Democrats aren't willing to provide other things, and therefore they're not going to get the funding for that. But you are going to have a catastrophic situation with universal mail-in votes. And on top of it, the Democrats aren't willing to give the people the money and the post office the money.
Mr. President, you said a catastrophic situation is going to happen, but what are you doing to ensure that that doesn't happen? Because wouldn't these problems raise questions about the election results if you win?
Well, the problem with the mail-in voting, number one, you're never going to know when the election's over, okay? I mean, they called the election in New York for Carolyn Maloney. They shouldn't have done that. I think you should redo that election. And you know the opponent is screaming. They can't believe it. Ballots are lost, ballots are defrauded, it's a total mess. And they called it for her. The reason is because I've been using it as a case. So, look, we are going to have an election that takes place on a beautiful day, November 3rd. And usually at the end of the evening, they say, Donald Trump has won the election. Donald Trump is your new president. Whatever they say, you know what? You're not going to know this, possibly, if you really did it right, for months or for years, because these ballots are all going to be lost. They're going to be gone. And just take a look at a smaller basis, but it's great tests. We're doing tests. I mean, you could call them polls, you could call them tests. Look at what's happening all over the country where you have universal mail-in. Wait a minute, the ballots are lost, there's fraud, there's theft. It's happening all over the place. Now, we're going to do it with this whole vast, big section of the country. It's crazy.
They're not talking about the description. You have made it so plain that you are opposed and do not trust mail-in voting. Is your Postmaster General using the agency of the Postal Service to create delays?
No, not at all. He would love to see it happen. I didn't speak to him about it, but I will tell you this. I would imagine he would say, number one, they didn't give me the funding for it because it's sitting in Congress because they want $1 trillion to bail out states, just so you understand what they want. They want $1 trillion to bail out badly run, Democrat-run states, okay? That's what they want. They're not giving the money to the post office. They have to give the money to the post
The
office.
steps the Postmaster General is taking are creating some delays now.
No, the steps he's creating, yeah.
Are you trying to discourage?
No, not at all. The steps that he's taken are trying to stop the tremendous losses that have taken place for many, many years. He's trying to streamline the post office and make it great again,
80
okay?
days before an election, sir? Is
Well,
this the
wait
right
a
time?
minute, you just threw, look, I just read last night that now New Jersey's going to try the universal mail-in voting. Well, they didn't know this, so now all of a sudden New Jersey is going to be hit with millions of ballots to be sent out. They didn't know anything about this. So how does a postal service that doesn't know about it, now all of a sudden New Jersey's supposed to take out and millions of ballots are going to be sent all over New Jersey? And if you look at some of the things they say, like take the state of Nevada, take that little scam that's going on over there with the clubhouse politician governor, take that, where the votes don't even have to be in till they get counted 7 days after November 3rd. That means if Nevada is a very important state, I think we have a great chance of winning that state. If the votes don't have to be in for 7 and they're not counting the votes 7 days later, that means how are they going to predict a winner on November 3rd?
Mr. President, the Inspector
Whether
General.
a ballot was automatically sent to somebody, or if.
No, absentee is okay.
Okay, but once the ballot gets into the mail, it doesn't matter. The workers have to sort it. So the bottom line is there must be more resources for post office across.
But the Democrats are not approving the resources. You're right. There has to be more resources. I agree, because all of a sudden the post office is tripling up in set. The problem is the Democrats are not approving the funds necessary. It's in there. Now they have 25 billion. I've seen 15 billion. I've seen a lot of money. I don't know how you're going to spend that much, but that's what they're saying. They're saying So not only do they want $1 trillion to hand out as welfare to all these states that are run by Democrats doing badly, they want $25 billion for the post office, but they're not approving it. Now, what I want is a lot of money, thousands of dollars, to go to people because they need money. They really, despite the good numbers, despite numbers like that, they need money to live. And I want that to happen. The Democrats don't care about that. They just want to give bailout money to their friends running big states poorly.
Mr. President,
Mr.
should
President,
you
let's
be
talk
looking
about
at cameras
sales.
for
Do you want to
ensuring the
go-
United States, the people of the United States,
Go ahead.
mailing?
Do you want to give Edward Snowden a pardon and bring him back? You once suggested.
Well, I'm going to look at it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not that aware of the Snowden situation, but I'm going to start looking at it. There are many, many people. It seems to be a split decision. And many people think that he should be somehow treated differently, and other people think he did very bad things. And I'm going to take a very good look at it. Okay? I mean, I've seen people that are very conservative and very liberal, and they agree on the same issue. They agree both ways. I'm going to take a look at that very strongly. Edward Snowden. Yeah, please.
Do you agree with Dr. Robert Redfield, who earlier this week said if America doesn't follow public health guidelines, we could be in store for one of the worst falls we've ever faced from a public health perspective?
No, I mean, you can't compare it to 1917. That was incredible. That was the worst ever by far. That was, you look at they lost possibly 100 million people. No, I don't agree with that. But if you look at these numbers, they're coming down very substantially. And I do believe that Americans, many are wearing masks, which is a good thing. Again, some people thought that you shouldn't wear masks. You know, when this whole thing started, Dr. Fauci, who I like and respect, said, don't wear masks, okay? And so did Dr. Redfield. And then all of a sudden, it was like everybody should wear masks. And that's okay. People can change their mind. But wash your hands, good hygiene, all of those things, I think people are really doing it to a level that they've never done before. And when you look at the numbers, the way the numbers are coming out, I mean, it's very impressive when you see what's happening. By the way, Florida doing well. You see that? And hospitalizations and, you know, normally you would have had to build more like we did for the first surge. We've done it right. We closed it up. We had the greatest economy in history. We closed it up. We understand the disease now. Nobody knew what was hitting us, right? Nobody knew that old people would be very, very susceptible, especially if they have heart and diabetes problems and other problems, that old people would be very susceptible and young people would be extremely good with it. If you look at the percentages, there are a tiny percentage that have problems, especially the big problem. So no, I think that we're doing very well. We're on our way, and we're also opening up our economy, and our economy is going to set records. And if stupid people aren't elected next year, we're going to have one of the greatest years that we've ever had.
Mr. President, I have a quick
Mr.
question for
President,
you.
say that-
Jennifer, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've already taken action on TikTok and WeChat.
Yeah.
Which other Chinese tech companies are you looking at banning from operating in the United States?
Well, the big thing is Huawei, right? Huawei's not here, and Huawei I'm not allowing. And I've told European countries and others, Australia has been fantastic as an example, but Huawei's not coming here. And we told certain countries that we're thinking about Huawei, that's okay, you can use them, but we're not going to be sharing intelligence. And they've all backed away. You look at the UK, it looked like they were going that way, and now they've backed out. Scotland Yard.
Are there other particular companies?
There are well, yeah, we're looking at other things. Yes, we are.
Mr. President, you say that you want the mail to be processed as quickly as it can, but why is your postal service dismantling these mail sorting machines across the country at this time?
Well, you'll have to ask him. I know this. He's a very efficient operator, a very good operator. But again, he needs money to operate if you're going to hit him with millions of ballots. And if you ask him, he will tell you, and he'll tell you very nicely, you have the money, it's sitting there, it's ready to go. The Democrats don't want to approve it. But I want money for other things, too. I want money to go to people so they can live very nicely, because China caused the problem. They didn't.
Mr.
Let's
President,
talk about
Mr.
the
President.
on the campaign. Will you say now that Kamala Harris is eligible to run and be vice president or president based on being born in Oakland, California?
So I have nothing to do with that. I read something about it, and I will say that he is a brilliant lawyer, that I guess he wrote an article about it. So I know nothing about it, but it's not something that bothers me.
But sir, when you do that, it creates.
Why do you say that? I just don't know about it, but it's not something that we will be pursuing. Let me put it differently.
President, you know.
Let me put it differently. Don't tell me what I know. let me put it differently. Uh, To me, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't know about it. I read one quick article. The lawyer happens to be a brilliant lawyer, as you probably know. He wrote an article saying there could be a problem. It's not something that I'm going to be pursuing.
Is she eligible, sir?
I just told you, I have not gone into it in great detail. If she's got a problem, you would have thought that she would have been vetted. You would have thought that she would have been vetted by Sleepy Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, sir, I just want to ask you, after 3 weeks of absolutely no deal, you have been ragging on Democrats constantly. Why not come to the table personally and sit with them? I mean, I know that Speaker Pelosi and Minority Leader Schumer were in the Oval Office in December 2018. That did not go so well. Everybody in the world saw that. Why not invite them? If they don't want to come, that's on them.
So I think we've done very well. We've had 3 phases. We're into phase 4. We've gotten everything we wanted. And we've also gotten a great economy. All you have to do is take a look at these charts. Our economy is doing good. But we want different things than them. I want money for the people. They want money to bail out Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. Listen to me. My people are doing very good. And my people call me. They're in the office. They call me when it's right. Nobody knows the deal better than I do. When it's right, I'll meet. But right now, it's not right. They want $1 trillion to bail out badly run states. They're Democrat. They're Democrat states. Will something happen? Possibly. But I want to tell you, the country is doing very well right now. We can live very happily with it, without it. But I'd like to do it because I want to give money to the people. I want to put money into the people's hands. They want to put money into politicians' hands so that the politicians don't look stupid. Okay. Steve Bush?
You've had some differences with your defense secretary, Mark Esper. Do you have confidence in his leadership there?
Mark Jesper? Did you call him Jesper? Oh, okay. Some people call him Jesper. No, I get along with him. I get along with him fine. It's fine. Yeah, no problem. I consider firing everybody. At some point, that's what happens. Jennifer, do you have something, Jennifer? You're working so hard.
Do you think that there will be anyone else who leaves your cabinet after the election, sir?
So if we have the success, I think we have a silent majority, the likes of which has never been seen before. I think you read about it, where 62% of the people say they're not even telling the truth on polling, and where the polling is fake, where they do registered voters and where they do many more Democrats than they do Republicans. Same as happened last time. But this year, I think we have much more enthusiasm. Maybe those people back there would understand it better than anybody, but I think there's more enthusiasm for 2020 than there was even for 2016. And 2016 was a record. You found that out. And I believe there's much more enthusiasm now than there was even in 2016. We have a silent majority, the likes of which nobody has seen. I just looked, there are thousands of boats in lakes, rivers, and oceans, thousands and thousands of boats. It's called Boaters for Trump, Boaters for Trump Pence. There's signs all over. Some of the boats have 10 flags on them. They're incredible. There are thousands. We did nothing to do this. This is just generic. It just happened. Let me just tell you, I think the level of enthusiasm for what we're doing, we want law and order. We want low taxes. They want to raise your taxes. They want to they want to have open borders, and they want to defund the police. How do you win on that? They want to go to Texas, and they want to go to Pennsylvania, and they want to stop fracking. And Ohio, they want to stop fracking. They're against steel. They're against anything with petroleum, the word petroleum in it. You won't have a country. These people are crazy. Say, go ahead.
As far as your cabinet goes, do you think you'll see more turnover in your cabinet?
Well, I don't know. I think for next year, generally speaking, a lot of times I understand if we win, president will ask for the resignation of everybody and then bring back the people he wants. That's happened before, Steve. And I could see something like that happening. I think that makes sense. No, I have a very good cabinet. With few exceptions. I wouldn't say I'm thrilled with everybody, frankly. But overall, I think we have a very good cabinet. I will say this, no administration, none, no administration, first 3.5 years has done anywhere near what we've done. 300, we will have at the end of the first term, 300, maybe more, federal judges, including Court of Appeals, 2 Supreme Court justices. Nobody has done this. Take a look at what we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, rebuilt our military, took care of our vets. We have a 91% approval rating from the vets. Nobody's ever had a 91% approval rating before. I guarded the Second Amendment. They want to destroy the Second Amendment. Take a look at Kamala. They want to destroy the Second Amendment. And as you know, Joe has no control over anybody. He has no control over himself. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
I think that is Trump for you, one of the greatest presidents in history. I would say. Well, let's watch and see who wins. As the United States of America is getting ready for its 2020 general election, the fourth and final night of the Democratic National Convention brought presidential nominee Joe Biden's acceptance speech. Biden, who presented his vision for uniting America to move forward from chaos and crisis, is really remarkable. I think Biden wants to show that he can actually work more than Donald Trump. Okay. Biden says that the United States under Donald Trump's administration has struggled to combat the virus. Well, if you want to compare, if you really wants to compare it, I think Biden is right in a way because China, where the coronavirus was founded, really tackled their own virus, and now China is like one of the countries that have tackled and combated this virus. I don't know what the United States is waiting for with all the equipment and everything. So Biden now said that the administration of Trump has struggled to combat this virus, and also says that Trump is incompatible and he won't win this year's election. Okay, Democrats and Republicans. Let's see who will win.
Frankly, she should have made the speech live, which she didn't do. She taped it. And it was not only taped, it was taped a long time ago because she had the wrong deaths. She didn't even mention the vice presidential candidate in the speech. And, she gets these fawning reviews. If you gave a real review, it wouldn't be so fawning. I thought it was a very divisive speech, extremely divisive. We have a tremendous amount of enthusiasm for my campaign because of things like we're talking about now, drug prices and drug cuts and transparency with hospitals and doctors that are going to lower bills by 50%, 70%. You're talking about numbers that are incredible. There's a procedure, I won't mention what it is, but there's a procedure where one hospital was charging $2,500, another hospital was charging $32 for the exact same procedure using the exact same kit, and the people weren't able to go around and even have that option. And it was the exact same. In fact, we did a study, and the one for $32 actually did a better job, okay? How about that? $2,500, $32, and the cheap one did a better job using the exact same stuff. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about numbers that are incredible. No, I thought her speech was very divisive. And frankly, I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for Barack Obama. See, we're standing in the White House. I wouldn't be in the White House except for Barack Obama because they did a bad job, Biden and Obama. And if they did a good job, I wouldn't be here. I'd be building buildings someplace and having a good time.
You compared your response to coronavirus to their response to the H1N1?
Well, they got very bad reviews. If you look at the Gallup poll did a review of them. Now, you have to understand that was a far lesser vicious disease. It was not the same in the same ballpark. But I know. It's also a much lesser disease. But they got very bad reviews. Gallup gave very bad reviews. And by the way, Gallup at that same time gave us very, very good reviews for the job we've done. So if you take a look at the Gallup poll from a couple of months ago, we got very good reviews and they got very bad reviews. They were, the reviews.
That speech is allowed, but Blue Lives Matter is not allowed. And I will stand at this podium and say Blue Lives Matter is an equity issue. and Goodyear needs to come out and acknowledge that.
Today, the president encouraged Americans not to buy Goodyear tires, suggesting that they had a ban on MAGA hats, but it appears that their policy is just a ban on political speech. It's pretty common for most companies. So why is the president retaliating against a private company for their dress code and potentially jeopardizing American jobs?
So Goodyear needs to come out and clarify their policy. There was an image.
It's a statement.
They failed to clear. Yes, I did see their statements, which still failed to clarify their policy. What happened is there was an image that was put out that showed that certain speech was.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. That was a very wrong video to show you. I think we are going to come up with the right video right now of Biden trying to say that Trump is incompetent of winning the 2020 November United States election.
Everyone, and I mean everyone, should be given an opportunity to go as far as their dreams and God-given ability will take them. We can never lose that. In times as challenging as these, I believe there's only one way forward. As a united America, united in our pursuit of a more perfect union, united in our dreams of a better future for us and for our children, united in our determination to make the coming years bright. Are you ready? I believe we are. This is a great nation. We're a good and decent people. For the Lord's sake, this is the United States of America. And there's never been anything we've been able to accomplish when we've done it together.
Caitlin, go ahead.
Do you want to respond to Michelle Obama's speech last night where she said that you're in over your head and the overall president?
Yeah, no, she was over her head. And frankly, she should have made the speech live, which she didn't do. She taped it. And it was not only taped, it was taped a long time ago because she had the wrong deaths. She didn't even mention the vice presidential candidate in the speech. And, you know, she gets these fawning reviews. If you gave a real review, it wouldn't be so fawning. I thought it was a very divisive speech, extremely divisive. We have a tremendous amount of enthusiasm for my campaign because of things like we're talking about now, drug prices and drug cuts and transparency with hospitals and doctors that are going to lower bills by 50%, 70%. You're talking about numbers that are incredible. There's a procedure, I won't mention what it is, but there's a procedure where one hospital was charging $2,500. Another hospital was charging $32 for the exact same procedure using the exact same kit, and the people weren't able to go around and even have that option. And it was the exact same. In fact, we did a study, and the one for $32 actually did a better job. Okay, how about that? $2,500, $32, and the cheap one did a better job using the exact same stuff. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about numbers that are incredible. No, I thought her speech was very divisive. And frankly, I wouldn't even be here if it weren't for Barack Obama. See, we're standing in the White House. I wouldn't be in the White House except for Barack Obama because they did a bad job, Biden and Obama. And if they did a good job, I wouldn't be here. I'd be building buildings someplace and having a good time.
Can you compare your response to coronavirus to their response to the H1N1?
Well, they got very bad reviews. If you look at the Gallup poll did a review of them. Now, you have to understand that was a far lesser vicious disease. It was not the same in the same ballpark. But yeah, I know. It's also a much lesser disease. But they got very bad reviews. Gallup gave very bad reviews. And by the way, Gallup at that same time gave us very, very good reviews for the job we've done. So if you take a look at the Gallup poll from a couple of months ago, we got very good reviews and they got very bad reviews. They were, I mean, the reviews they got for the handling of swine flu or H1N1, which Biden calls N1, H1, and I don't even correct him on that. I don't even correct him. I said, that's a mistake you can make, but that's what he calls it. He's got it a little mixed up, but that's all right. Take a look at the Gallup poll, and there were others too. They got horrible marks, and that disease is a much lesser problem. Okay.
Mr. President, do you support protesters in Belarus, and do you have a message?
Do I support protesters and terrorists?
Belarus. Belarus.
Oh, I thought you said protesters and terrorists.
Do you have a message for Moscow regarding potential military
Yeah,
intervention?
you have to understand me. I like seeing democracy. Democracy is a very important word. It doesn't seem like it's too much democracy there in Belarus, but we are speaking to lots of people, and we'll be speaking at the appropriate time to Russia, and we'll be speaking to other people that are involved, but it's certainly a very big march, and it seems to be a very peaceful march, unlike some of the so-called peaceful protests that we have where they burn down stores, okay? Peaceful protests, those are not peaceful. Those are anarchists going over to Portland and other places. These are anarchists, agitators. These are very bad people. But it seems to be very peaceful, and it's a peaceful protest. And I support democracy. Okay, any other question?
Well, you've heard it from Donald Trump. He said he supports democracy. What do you think? I will leave this question in your hands. Who do you think will win the 2020 United States election? Donald Trump or Biden? Thank you for watching Voice TV Nigeria. I still remain Magdalene Palmer. Keep liking and subscribing to Voice TV Nigeria. See you next time. Bye.
You know, many people have heard me say this, but I've always believed you can define America in one word: possibilities. The defining feature of America: everything is possible. That in America, everyone, and I mean everyone,